So let's start with that visit that the president made. Describe it for us.
I'm telling you, the first visit by a president in our 97-year history, it was an exciting day, I can't lie. Everybody was excited, and the thing our employees said the most to me was, thank you. I'm really excited. The pageantry of such a visit is republic reaffirming. And he came to highlight the essential nature of manufacturing, which is music to manufacturers' ears all over. And I had some time to talk to him, and one of the things I told him was, that's one of the things he should do. And the other thing I emphasized to him, that we've asked our leaders for a long time to help restore the respect for the dignity of work. And from our stage, he said, we honor work, we honor grit, we honor those working men and women who, by their own two hands, turn their dreams into reality. And that's exactly what we wanted him to do.
I went out to a rally in Willow Run, Michigan, outside of Ypsilanti, and he gave the same message to UAW workers, that you have not been respected, we're going to respect you. Respect is one thing, having a job is another. And even as the president has really made this a priority for him, we have this report now that Ford may be laying off as much as 10% of its workforce. Is this a reminder for us that there's a limit to how much Washington can do in creating manufacturing jobs?
Well, I think there's a limit to how much Washington can do with any particular company. After all, there are 251,000 manufacturers in America, and each of them have a different set of economic and strategic situations. So anything Washington can do doesn't really save one company or invigorate a particular company. But overall, manufacturers are looking for an administration that looks at their interests first. He's met with businessmen. He's proposed taxes. We're very encouraged by the tax proposals that came out of the Congress and out of the president. Both lower the rates, both change the territorial systems, both talk about taking care of S-corps. 75% of manufacturers are S-corps, and those kinds of things. Both have a robust capital recovery thing. And so we're pretty positive about this. I saw Chairman Brady on your show yesterday. He said a couple of things that I thought resonated with me. One was that we're talking about making these permanent. And I can tell you, he was right on when he says that permanent tax cuts allow better planning going forward, and that ignites more animal spirits.
So I want to talk about taxes in just a moment, but before we get to that, what we hear a lot about is the manufacturing jobs have been overwhelmingly lost to automation, not to foreign workers, but actually to automation. There's nothing that we can or should do about automation, is there? Isn't that a good thing?
No, but I think automation is a good thing. Of course, we have automation at Snap-on, but even with automation, we've hired every year since since the recession, really, pretty much. And it's like this: the Snap-on model, I think, is instructive. We take advantage of the one inalienable advantage that American manufacturers have. That is proximity to the world's greatest market. And therefore, while we automate, while we drive continuous improvement, while we drive for consistency, we look for customization in the midst of that consistency to create a high-value product that is matched to the customer, and they will pay for those kinds of things. And so automation just enables you to do that. We have 65,000 SKUs. What you do need, though, then, is skilled workers. You see, part of the idea about tax cuts is the National Association of Manufacturers says if we get a good tax cut, 6.5 million workers will be hired, but you need to have them have skills.
But we don't hear about that from President Trump.
Not as much. He talked about it in our location, but I think that's something we want to push him toward. We want to get him to talk about that because what we're in is we're in a competition. For a global competition for jobs, and automation is some of that competition, but it can be aid at the same time. And the best thing we can do to arm our workforce is to give them the skills they need. And what you see now is there are 350,000 skills. National Association of Manufacturers says there are 350,000 jobs that are going unfilled. Garages in the United States, repair garages, mechanics, 25,000 needed. You need more of them.
And Chairman Brady, Chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, talked about competition and the role of taxation in competition.
Sure.
How concerned are you that the president and Washington will get distracted by things such as this incident with the alleged revealing of secrets to the Russians and never get back to tax reform? Can Washington get that done if the president is off really chasing after scandals such as alleged revealing of confidential information?
Well, I think that is a question. I mean, we all would like to have the president focus on jobs, focus on tax reduction, focus on upskilling rather than worried about Nordstroms or the Russians or other things. But I think this, if you're a legislator, and if you're in the Congress or in the Senate, If you're in the administration, I think the last election should have told you that the most important thing to Americans is focusing on getting them jobs. You know?
Clearly the message that Donald Trump, the candidate, delivered and that got him elected. At the same time, President Trump, the president, this morning is tweeting out again about what happened in the Oval Office with the Russians. So if you were to give him advice, what would you advise him about his tweets?
Concentrate on jobs and tweet about jobs, tweet about upskilling, tweet about the return to the respect, to the dignity of work. Don't worry about the other stuff. You know, in some ways, you have to look at things. I can't give the president advice, but those are the primary things. That's what he got elected on. They are the American advantage, and his maintenance of that will deliver us from evil. I have one more thing to say about his visit.
Please, say
it. I'm kind of depressed because I missed a historic offering. Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, came. He came on April 15th. April 18th, it was tax day. I should have handed my tax return to him directly.
Saved yourself.
That was a historic opportunity.
Exactly right.
Yes.
That's right. Get a photo while you're doing it.
Right. I'm kind of depressed over it, that I missed the opportunity.